I, 23F, met E, 23M, in the 6th grade when we were both 11 years old. We were best friends since that. Really inseparable. Practically joined by the hip. We started dating when we were 14 and never stopped. We were the typical teenage couple. We had our fair bit of stupid fights, but overall our relationship was pretty mature given our ages. E family practically adopted me when my parents died when I was 17. My parents died in a car accident and they were strangled for their families, so I had no one else to go. His mom loves me and my relationship with the rest of his siblings is pretty good. He has one older brother, 25M, and two younger sisters, 19F, 17F. I considered his family as my own. They helped me so much since my parents died. They let me move in with them. They paid for my college and rent. I live with E and they pay our rent. They are really supportive of us, and his mom have a heart of the size of the entire F-King world. I swear. E is tall, 6'3", absolutely gorgeous, easygoing, funny, really F-King smart. He speaks 5 languages and is attending med school. Everyone likes him. Me on the other hand, I'm pretty common. I would give myself a 7/10 on a good day. Despite all that, E was always jealous and insecure about me. He is absolutely terrified of me cheating on him. His aunt cheated on his uncle who later committed suicide. They were really close and that give him some severe mental scars. Given that he was always a bit controlling of me hanging around with male friends and make me promise him that I would never cheat on him 1,000 times. Earlier this year in February, I started spending a bit of more time with my friends, and as a result, I wasn't spending much time with him. This started our biggest argument so far. He argued that I was prioritizing my friends, male friends specifically. He tried to make me cut one of my closest friends that he didn't like it. I wasn't gonna do that and we ended screaming at each other. This led to a day that I was supposed to go to a party with my friends at night. He asked me to no go there because my friend was going to be there. I told him no. Before I left he told me that he was feeling sick. He told me that he was feeling a headache and a slight fever. He asked me to stay home and order some food and watch a movie with him. We started to argue. He screamed at me and I left. I am gonna try to make this short and not graphic. I meet with 3 of my friends there, drink more than I should, got really drunk, went to lay down in one of the rooms in the house that the party was happening, fell asleep, and woke up with my 3 friends raping me. I was able to scream and one girl who was in the bathroom heard me up and came to help me. Soon other people started showing up and in the end, the guys who did it were beaten up too close to death. I was taken to a hospital after that. 2 of the guys are in jail right now and the other was able to dodge prison because he didn't have taken his turn yet. To say that this whole thing fucked me up is an understatement. I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD. It was bad. Really F-King bad. I started having this panic attacks where I couldn't breathe and the only thing that made me feel better was E. If he was there I didn't have any panic attacks, but if he left for more than 30 minutes, now is a bit better. I am able to be away from him for about 7-8 hours without feeling terrified. I started to freak the FCK out. I was probably one of the few people who were grateful for the lockdown. Lol. A mix of obsessive attachment with anxiety, my therapist said. He was my goddamn hero. He cooked for me, made sure that I was eating, made sure that I was taking my meds, drove me to my therapist and psychiatrist appointments. He started showering with me, because it was the only way that I was comfortable being nude. Don't ask me to explain why. He held me down when I started sobbing at random moments of the day. I used to have night terrors and the only way to this day I can fall asleep is with my head on his chest. He is the only person who makes me feel safe. Basically he and his family. His mom helped us a lot. She was the one who delivered groceries to our apartment because he couldn't leave or else I started to panic. Were the ones responsible for me not killing myself. Our intimacy life was pretty good before the incident. We lost our virginities to each other when we were 16 and we were each other's firsts and only in everything. Even kissing. He has an insane high libido. For him we could have intimacy 7 times a day and he could keep up for hours. But we normally did once or twice a day and I always blew him at least once a day. He always pressured me a bit for more intimacy and was always hurt when I refused, but overall our intimacy life was pretty healthy. After the thing, he never, ever, mentioned or tried to initiate intimacy or any type of thing like that. I started to feel comfortable with kissing him around the end of August, but he only gave me short pecks and he didn't seem to enjoy them. These days when I tried to give him a more elaborate kiss he pulls away. In the middle of September, I was finally feeling good enough with myself to have intimacy again. I put on some fancy lingerie and tried to initiate, but once he saw what I was trying to do he pulled away, gave me a kiss on the forehead, said that he was tired and went to sleep. This doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is. Ever since we had intimacy for the first time 7 years ago he never shot me down when I tried to initiate. Not even once. And the longest time that we spent without having intimacy was 4 days, before the whole thing. Obviously, every time that I tried to initiate intimacy he always gave me an excuse. He was not in the mood. He was tired. He was busy and, like I said before, he has the libido of a porn star and I caught him masturbating before, so that didn't change. My twisted mind thought he was cheating on me, even though that the max time that he spent away from me in these days is for about 4 or 5 hours. So yesterday I snooped through his phone. Yes, after all the things he has done for me I did this. Yes, I am a horrible girlfriend. And he wasn't cheating on me, but I find out something that I honestly don't know if is better or worse than cheating. He was talking to his older brother about us. The main facts that I discovered were this. That he blames himself for letting me go to that party. That every time I tried to initiate intimacy the only thing he is able to think is the other 3 guys being inside me and how wrong the thought of other guys being inside of me made him feel sick. That how our special thing for us was lost. The special thing is that we lost our virginities to each other and never had intimacy with anyone else. He used to say that in the future he will brag to our future grandchildren about how in the age of hookups we only had intimacy with each other. This may seem dumb, but it was something that he was really proud of because he is really romantic in that sense, and his parents were each other onlys and they were pretty much the perfect couple. That before the incident he bought a ring and was going to propose to me, but he feels like he started to see me more like one of his sisters and that the lust that he had for me now feels like fraternal love. His brother responded that he had to suck it up and stay with me at least until I get totally healed. He said to him that he wasn't sure if I was going to heal completely. I read all these things last night, Reddit, and I really don't know what to do. The thought of not being with him makes me feel terrified. We were supposed to grow old together. He had our whole life planned already. We even discussed baby names. He is absolutely perfect and I don't want to lose him. I have a therapy appointment next Monday, but I don't think I'm able to keep this to myself until then. I'm really desperate here. Any advice is really appreciated. Now on to another story. I found out I'm the literal backup to my pregnant fiancée and walked out. She's begging me to go back, not sure what to do. Bit of very relevant back history. We first met 6 years ago in my then job and we were just colleagues then. I split up with my ex 4 years ago roughly, and we started seeing each other casually 3 years ago until she asked me if we could give it a go as a serious relationship just over 2 years ago. A lot has happened in the past 2 years. She had a preventive double mastectomy due to having the breast cancer gene. We both sold our respective houses, moved in together, got pregnant, and I proposed 6 months ago. She has been telling me in the past few months she's so in love with me, can't wait to start our family and even wants more kids with me. We only planned to have the one, but because she's so happy. We were even saying she was thinking about having another kid straight after our first is born so we could start our family before she has a hysterectomy due to the gene. So she went on maternity last week and we have 2 weeks to go before our child is born. Sod's Law said my phone died a few days ago, so I asked her if I could use of her old ones until my new one came. She said of course and told me which one and said it should be empty. Really? Important thing to note here is that she actually has 2 of the same make but different models, so by mistake, I grabbed the wrong one and logged in and said, oh, I thought it was blank. She said without thinking she must be baby brained again, so to do what I want and delete anything I don't need. After a short while, I start going through the phone and see she has conversations with her bestie in there, and the last dates were just before we committed to each other. Basically, she was talking to her and literally weighing all her options up about having kids with before it's too late, and she was going over her backups, and I saw their chat about me. Basically the consensus was I was the shortest and oldest of her guys she was seeing, but I had the best prospects, most stable job, best personality, most common interests, funny, good in bed and good looking even if I'm not her usual type. So she said she was going to give it a go and her friend encouraged her. Then I guess we started dating. The messages stopped when she was starting to go through her mastectomies and got a new phone. I just went like what the fuck babe out loud, and she initially was clueless but realized what phone I had. She was mortified and she was spiraling trying to explain herself but not making much sense. I literally told her to shut up, grabbed my stuff and walked out. I've booked into a B&B and have been staying here for a couple of days. She's been messaging me, sending video messages literally begging me to come home crying so we can talk. I can't face it. I feel so effing humiliated and used. I've gone from the happiest I've been in years to feeling like my last couple of years is a bit of a lie. I keep going through the messages on one hand and thinking of the way she's been in the past few months on the other, telling me how much she's in love with me, how happy she is, she wouldn't change the past couple of years, and how much she's looking forward to starting a family with me. Saying things like she has an actual crush on me. Even just sends me texts with a love heart on. I literally don't know what to do. Do I go back and talk? Or wait it out until she has the baby then go back and discuss it then? I am a literal mess. Reddit. Edited to add an update. You're alright. I shouldn't just walk out and leave her while she's so vulnerable. I'm going to go home at least and be with her until the baby is here, and we'll see what happens there. Can't say I know long term how I'll feel and what will happen or that I'm that happy, but we'll tackle that when it comes. Now on to another story. My ex left me after a cancer diagnosis 3 years ago and wants to be involved in my life and friends again. I am very conflicted and not sure what to do. I met my ex almost 7 years ago and we started casually seeing each other around 2018. Our relationship was very chaotic and unhealthy in the beginning for reasons that I do not wish to disclose, but I was at fault. I hurt her really bad and we ended up ruining our friendship. We stopped talking for a period of time and then I finally reached out after almost a year realizing that I missed what we had. She was reluctant, but we gave it a go. Our relationship for that period was fulfilling and I was very much in love with her. It felt safe and loving, however I wasn't very sure how realistic things were. We got back together right before the pandemic started, so there wasn't a whole lot for us to do except spend time together. My ex was struggling a bit with some life choices and what to do next. Her family as well was going through a very difficult period with her parents splitting and her dad moving abroad for work. Her relationship with her mother is not great either. She wasn't in school and was unsure of her career path. I on the other hand was doing a dual degree at a very prominent college, a D1 varsity athlete, and was planning on going to an Ivy League school for my master's. I never brought this up to her or made her less, and I always actively encouraged her to go back to school, which she did. I love her very much and cared about her a lot because she made me feel safe and loved. In July 2020, I started having some symptoms around my groin during training after a bad session and went in for an MRI. It was determined that I had torn my groin, so I went in for an operation shortly after. Before the OR, my doctor did some blood work that came back very skeptical, and during the OR they found a tumor in my groin. It was cancerous, but they caught it very early on, so the prognosis was okay. However, the treatment was not good. I couldn't train anymore and was only working and doing my classes online. 3 weeks after the surgery and after introducing me to her family, my ex comes to my place and breaks up with me saying the spark is gone. She doesn't love me anymore and doesn't want to work on this. I absolutely broke down mentally and was crushed. She went on to move on within a couple of hours when my friend found her Tinder and I was devastated. To make things much more difficult, a week later, my best friend from childhood dies in his sleep. I told her we could evaluate things after a month, but I was so crushed/hurt that I ended up cutting all ties. The next few months were mentally the darkest period of my life. Eventually, I was cleared to start training again and was doing classes online due to the pandemic. But mentally I was fucked up. A lot of therapy, crying and mental breakdowns. I moved on with someone else, but that relationship ended shortly because it wasn't fair for her to be put through what I was going through. During this time, my ex was bragging to our mutual friends about how she was really enjoying her slut phase and that she was happy she left me. She also went and slept with my former best friend who she knew hurt me very much in my past, and I found out about it, which crushed me. Coupled with her accidentally running into me at some of the spots I frequent, I was very angry and upset. Since then I graduated with 2 degrees, got accepted into an Ivy League school for my master's and started a really good job. I healed a lot through therapy and working on myself and even got go to qualify for a major sporting event. Lo and behold, while all of this is happening, she decides to reach recently and tells me how proud she is of me and then asked if we could talk and have coffee. That she misses our friendship and wants to be involved in my life. Prior to this, she was going around and telling my mutual friends that she was having second thoughts and was thinking of reaching out to talk to me. This is all while she's in a relationship with someone else, and I find that downright disrespectful. My mind is telling me to call her out and tell her to leave me alone, but my heart feels another way. I know she hurt me a lot, but I loved her a lot. I do not know what to do. Update: my ex left me after a cancer diagnosis 3 years ago and wants to be involved in my life and friends again. I just want to start this post by saying thank you to those Redditors that had some advice and were supportive. I read through most of the comments and I have to say wow. I did not expect that. Shortly after I wrote this post, I had a breakdown which was not good. My ex triggered me because it brought back a lot of those feelings of abandonment, inadequacies and feeling like shit. It felt like a slap in my effing face to leave at my worst and now is wanting to be a part of my life when I am at the highest moment. Luckily, I had support from my family, friends and therapists who talked me through this period. My family and friend absolutely despise her and thank God for them that I did not crawl back. I read through what I wrote again and I am shocked at what cognitive dissonance I was experiencing at the time. So after a couple of days, I went back into my journals and read out what I wrote about that experience. It was heartbreaking, to say the least. Someone mentioned codependency and feeling guilt, which is exactly what was going on. I was toxic and not good to her before we started dating, but I did a lot of work to become a better person. I felt emotionally guilty and responsible and thus allowed this to happen. I did truly care and loved her, but what happened post-breakup is not something anyone ever effing deserves. The one person who hurt me and she slept with him right after we broke up. That just showed her true colors. I loved somebody who I never knew. Another thing that shocked me is reading over my journal that I had while we were together. The comments that she made about me being fat, despite being an athlete, and dressing poorly. Some even of the racial comments she made about how she wants mixed babies and fetishized me. I am biracial. She even deleted her BLM posts the day we broke up too, despite being so much of an advocate for it. This was so fucked up on many levels and I am going to need extensive therapy to overcome that. I am lost for words and do not know where to begin. So what did I do? I told her in an assertive and kind manner not to contact me again and that it was disingenuous what was going on. I know some Redditors told me not to do this, but I did not enforce the boundaries post-breakup and she violated many of them, including following my mutual friends and asking about my well-being, people she never met before. So I had to draw the line at that. She's blocked off everything and it will stay that way. I am never going back to that again. Started full-on therapy again today on a weekly basis and really going back to healing before I can be involved with someone again. Funny enough, I ran into her former friend today and she word for word said you can do so much better than that shit. I'm going to take that advice and move forward now. Good things have only happened so far in my life and it will continue to get better.